welcome to another episode of Codo Cinema, the podcast show where I talk about movies. I'm your host, Mark Codo, aka Codoman. Well, folks, I just want to say Merry Christmas to everyone. I hope everyone's Christmas is going well, and I hope the rest of the holiday season is going well too, because we are almost at the end of the year. Plus, Codo Cinema's seventh season, by the way. Yes, I know, season 7. This is the seventh season of Codo Cinema. So we are basically down to one more episode before we wrap up the year. Plus, since this is basically, and of course since this is also Christmas, I thought I'd be talking about another Christmas movie. However, this time around, this movie that I'm going to talk about definitely deserves the attention it needs, and I wanted to share this movie with you. And that movie would be The Nativity Story. Now, The Nativity Story is a 2006 American biblical drama film based on the nativity of Jesus Christ, and is directed by Catherine Hardwicke, and the film stars Keisha Castle Hughes, Oscar Isaac, Hiam Abbas, Sean Toob, Alexander Siddig, Kieran Hines, and Shoret Agdashlu. Now, I do apologize if I mispronounce any of the names. I mean, some of the names, I do find these names familiar, but of course, some of these names are a bit hard to pronounce, so I do apologize if I mispronounce any of the names. But anyway, before I dive more into before I go further deep into the movie, my brother Mike is back on board for another episode. Mike, welcome back.
Thank you, Mark, and Merry Christmas to you.
Merry Christmas to you. Also, to anybody who is new to the podcast, welcome to Codo Cinema, the podcast show where I talk about movies. So if you are listening to this on YouTube, don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button for more content. And if you are listening to this on Spotify and Podbean, don't forget to hit the follow button for more content as well. All right, so there you have it, folks. Now, of course, as I mentioned, I'm going to talk about the Nativity Story. And if I'm going to have to be very honest, this movie, and of course, the story itself is basically a very important story to talk about.
Very important.
Yes, because this is basically, obviously enough, the movie talks about the birth of Jesus Christ, which is basically, the Nativity Story, or the Nativity of Jesus Christ. And of course, the Nativity or birth of Jesus Christ is found in the biblical Gospels of Matthew and Luke. This is where Jesus was born in the little town of Bethlehem.
Yes, on Christmas night. This movie came out in 2006, and it will be turning 20 next year.
Right. I mean, obviously enough, this movie will be celebrating its 20th anniversary next year. And I'm going to be honest, this movie is underrated, to be quite honest.
Underrated?
Yeah, I feel like this is one of those movies where it's underrated in my opinion. But to be quite honest though, this movie deserves the attention it needs because this is basically the birth of Jesus Christ.
Of course.
So it is worth mentioning.
There's more than one biblical films.
Right. And of course, to anybody who is listening, I have already covered the King of Kings movie that came out from Angel Studios. So if you guys want to go check out that episode after this recording, feel free to do so. And of course, Mike and I, we have seen a few biblical movies. Obviously, the Prince of Egypt from DreamWorks Pictures.
You also got the Father Stew movie with Mark Wahlberg and Mel Gibson.
Speaking of Mel Gibson, The Passion of the Christ as well. Also to bring this up, Mel Gibson is also doing a follow-up to Passion of the Christ. And also to bring this up, The 10 Commandments starring Charlton Heston.
And there's also a classic version of The King of Kings.
Right. This one, on the other hand, we have seen the trailer for this movie when we were very little. When this movie came out in 2006.
Wait, the trailer?
Remember the trailer? Have you seen you remember the trailer of the Nativity Story?
I don't remember seeing the trailer.
I thought I remember seeing the trailer. I think that was when we were seeing the Happy Feet movie.
Wait a minute. I think I know what you're talking about.
I thought you saw the trailer when you were little, right?
I can't remember. I don't remember.
It's been a while, and this comes to show that some movies are underrated. And this is one of them, which is why I wanted to bring attention to talk about this movie. Now, Just to move forward, the film, as I mentioned, is directed by Catherine Hardwicke, who actually directed the first Twilight movie that came out in 2008.
So that's 2 years before Twilight.
Right. She also directed the 13 movie. She also did other movies such as Red Riding Hood in 2011, Miss You Already in 2015, Miss Bala, Prisoner's Daughter, Mafia Mama, just to name a few. And and of course, Mike Rich actually wrote the screenplay for this movie. And then, of course, you got Wyke Gottfried and Marty Bowen producing the movie. Cinematography was done by Elliot Davis, with Stuart Levy and Robert K. Lambert editing the movie. And of course, the music was composed by Michael Dana, to which Michael Dana he actually wrote the score. He actually composed the Life of Pi movie, actually.
Life of Pi.
Yeah, Life of Pi. And he also has, I think he's got a brother too, who if my memory serves correct, his name is Jeff Dana. If my memory is right, he actually he and his brother Jeff composed the score for The Good Dinosaur and the Onward movie, both from Walt Disney and Pixar.
Wow.
Yep. And you got production company Temple Hill Entertainment, and it was distributed by New Line Cinema. In fact, the movie premiered in the Vatican City on November 26th of 2006, making it the first film to hold a worldwide premiere in the city. And of course, it was released in the United States on December 1st of 2006.
Very interesting. And I think the trailer that you mentioned, I think I did kind of remember it.
I know it's been a while since we saw the trailer, but also we have seen this movie too. Like we didn't see this in theaters, but we saw like we watched it on different occasions, like on YouTube, and then I think HBO Max actually did a streaming of it too.
It did before it left.
Right. The film itself received mixed reviews from critics, and it grossed over $46 million on a budget of $35 million.
I'm pretty sure not a lot of people were on board with this movie.
Yeah, apparently a lot of people apparently people were split on this movie for some reason. Now, Rotten Tomatoes has a score of 37% based on 131 reviews with an average rating of 5.29 out of 10. The site's consensus on Rotten Tomatoes says the Nativity Story is a dull retelling of a well-worn tale with the look and feel of a high school production. Metacritic, on the other hand, weighted score out of 100 to reviews from mainstream critics gives the film a score of 52 based on 28 reviews. Yeah. So, and then other people, they had split reactions too. Like I guess some enjoyed it, others did not. Now, yes, we all have our different opinions on movies, and that's fine. I mean, it's fine to like and dislike. Hey, we can all agree to disagree.
That's definitely true.
Conversely, many critics felt that the film did not take the story to new cinematic heights. In fact, Owen Gleiberman of Entertainment Weekly noted the Nativity Story is a film of tame picture book sincerity, but that's not the same thing as devotion. The movie is too tepid to feel or see the light. And Kenneth Turan of the Los Angeles Times said, "This is not a chance to experience the most timeless of stories as you have never seen it before, but just opposite, an opportunity for those who want it to encounter this story exactly the way it's almost always been told." Now, there's a few other reviews, like New York Times. A.O. Scott of the New York Times gave the film a positive review, saying, "At its best, the Nativity Story shares with Hail Mary an interest in finding a kernel of realism in the old story of a pregnant teenager in hard times. Buried in the pageantry, in other words, is an interesting movie." Okay, so at the very least, I mean, yeah, the movie itself is very interesting, but of course, this is also a real thing. This is a real life event that actually happened. And and it's basically important to tell.
Something that happened a long time ago.
Yeah, something that happened a long time ago, and it's actually true. The accuracy alone is up to debate, but I feel like the movie did a fine job of what it was trying to tell.
And it feels like a high school production.
That's what some people were. That's what some people were saying. I mean, to be quite honest, though, I don't understand that. Why are people saying that this movie feels like a high school production?
Yeah.
I don't understand that. Now, one more review. Anne Hornaday of the Washington Post concluded a positive review of the film, stating, "The most intriguing thing about the Nativity story transpires during the couple's extraordinary personal journey, advancing a radical idea in an otherwise long slog of a cinematic Sunday school lesson. That Jesus became who he was, not only because he was the Son of God, but because he was the son of a good man."
That's totally true.
Mm-hmm.
At least there's a positive review from one of the critics.
Right. I mean, like I said, there's people who are going to be split with this movie, and you know what? Hey, we can all agree to disagree. I mean, if you like this movie, that is great. If you don't like this movie, that's totally fine. I mean, hey, that's totally fine. I mean, we can all agree to disagree.
There was also an incident to the actress who plays Mary.
Oh yes, yes. There's also an incident. Apparently, Keisha Castle Hughes, who played Mary in this movie, she became pregnant during filming and at the age of 16, and received a lot of media attention.
Oh my goodness.
This was during filming. Oh my goodness. I think the actress was dating someone at the time when they were making this movie. And apparently, in October 2006, when Castle Hughes and was 16, right? It was announced that her and then her, I think, the ex-boyfriend were expecting a child together. That was back in 2006 when she was dating Bradley Hull. That's what happened.
Kind of shocking, huh?
Yeah, and that happened, and that actually happened. By the way, she was very young in this movie. Keisha Castle Hughes, she was like 16 when this movie came out.
Yep.
Give or take, maybe 15.
She was in her teens.
She was a young teenager when while they were making this movie. Oh wow. Yeah, she was a young teenager when she was making this movie. My goodness. Like, yeah. Just to move forward in the production, in January 2006, it was reported that New Line Cinema acquired Nativity, a spec script based on the Nativity of Jesus, centering on the Virgin Mary by Mike Rich for development. In fact, Rich began writing the script in 2004 after seeing cover time in Newsweek about the Nativity and feeling the story was a natural bookend to the Passion of the Christ, whose success helped the film find backing, citing the story's themes of faith and hope as being timeless. The following month, New Line had hired Catherine Hardwicke to direct Nativity with the intention of fast-tracking it for release during the holiday season of that year. And of course, Keisha Castle Hughes was cast to play Mary. And of course, Shoreh Aghdashloo was cast as Elizabeth, mother of John the Baptist. And then Oscar Isaac had been cast as Joseph and Alexander Siddig as the Archangel Gabriel. The film came as part of a wave by major studios to try and cater to the audience who made The Passion of the Christ so successful, with Walt Disney Pictures and Walt Disney Pictures embracing the Christian aspects of the Chronicles of Narnia, The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, and Sony's release of the Da Vinci Code, though the latter was noted to be more questioning of divinity. And the film was shot in Matera and Krakow, Italy, and of course, other locations, including Morocco. Actually, that's interesting. Like, you got Chronicles of Narnia, which came out in 2005, and then the Da Vinci Code came out in 2006.
Which was directed by Ron Howard, starring Tom Hanks.
Right, and this came out like after the Passion of the Christ
in 2004. like 2 years after the Passion of the Christ.
It's interesting too because that movie, Passion of the Christ, has all had his also had his fair share of controversy as well. Like, right?
Yes.
Mm.
And upon its release, the film was polarized by critics.
Right. And I think because of what went down on that movie, I think that was one of the main. I don't know if that's the reason, but that's one of the few reasons why the movie got a mixed reception. The Nativity Story.
Yes. But Passion of the Christ, on the other hand, that will be an episode for another day.
That will be an episode for another. That will be an episode for another day. But otherwise, I mean, but overall, to me, I thought the movie was fine.
Yeah, I thought the film was okay too, despite the problems it has.
Right, and it is I mean, sure. Like I said, we can all agree to disagree on the movie itself. Like, hey, if you guys like this movie, that's great. If you don't like it, that's totally fine. I mean, for me and Mike, we like the movie.
Yeah.
We like that. We actually like this movie, and I thought the movie itself. I thought the movie had a good story. I thought the story for this movie was pretty good. I'm not gonna say that this movie was a masterpiece, but I find this movie. I find this movie to be a good movie to watch.
Yeah, especially after the first trailer dropped.
Right. But anyway, let's break down. But anyway, how about we break down this movie, shall we?
Yep.
So obviously enough, the movie basically. So basically, this is basically, basically this is basically. So basically, this movie is basically, the movie opens up with "O Come Emmanuel" playing in the background, and it's very fitting.
There's also a prologue or monologue to the film.
Mm-hmm. There's like a little. There's like a little text scroll, and also to bring this up for "O Come Emmanuel." It's basically, Advent's hymn about longing for the Messiah, referencing Jesus with the Old Testament titles like Emmanuel, God with us, and then, of course, Rod of Jesse and Key of David, expressing hope for both his first coming, birth, and his future second coming, calling for redemption from sin, oppression, and death, as detailed in the ancient antiphons. Now, with that song being played in the background, it sets it really it says it all. It sets the bar for this movie. Now, and of course, going to the scroll to the text scroll, the opening of the movie, it begins, and I quote: 2 millennia ago, King Herod rules Judea for Caesar Augustus and the Roman Empire. Herod has enforced an uneasy peace on his subjects for 35 years, but the words of the ancients trouble him. So end of quote right there. And the text continues with a Bible verse, and I'm going to quote this Bible verse: "Behold, the days are coming, declares the Lord, when I shall raise up for David a righteous branch, and he will reign as king. In his days, Judea shall be saved, and Israel will dwell and Israel will dwell securely." Jeremiah 23, verses 5 through 6. And that Bible verse says it all.
This really opens up very well.
Right.
And if you take a look at the opening of this movie, it's dark.
Yeah, it's basically dark. Like the movie opens up in Jerusalem at night with King Herod wanting to kill, in his mind he wants to he wanted to kill Jesus. And the reason why, because the Magi told him about the new about the about he they told the Magi told him a new king of the Jews was born, and Herod, already paranoid and ruthless, feared that this child would overthrow his own rule and claim the throne. And to eliminate this perceived threat, he tried to find Jesus, but failing that, ordered the massacre of the innocents, killing all male babies in Bethlehem under the age of 2, hoping to kill Jesus among them.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, that's how this movie opens up.
I mean, wow.
That's how that movie opens up. But apparently, this is basically at the point where, okay, Jesus was already born.
Yes.
As a baby. Now, of course, the movie officially opens up 1 year earlier.
This is before Jesus Christ was born.
Right.
And King Herod, he's being played by Kieran Hines.
Right, he's being played by Kieran Hines, and of course, as the movie continues on, um, we're being introduced to obviously cousin Elizabeth, Mary's cousin, and then of course Elizabeth's husband Zachariah, who's being played by Stanley Townsend, who is a priest who was told in the temple his aged wife would conceive and bear a son who was to be named John. And apparently, Zachariah didn't believe it, so he lost his ability to speak. Really? Yeah, no, I'm not kidding. That actually happened. And this is when they were at the Holy Temple of Jerusalem.
Yes, I mean it takes place in takes place at different places,
Right.
including Nazareth.
Right, Nazareth. Right. It's interesting how it's all coming in how it's coming in full circle on this one. Like both Elizabeth and Mary are carrying their own babies.
Their own babies.
Right. One of them being Jesus and the other one being John. John Elizabeth gave birth to John, who will become John the Baptist. And of course, Mary having Jesus inside Mary, Mother of God.
Yes.
So anyway, as we continue forward, Mary, who's being played by Keisha Castle Hughes, lives in the small town of Nazareth. She's still young enough to play with the other children of the town, although she must also work to help. She also must also work to help her poor family get by. The people of the town apparently the people of the town can barely pay the king's taxes. When one of their neighbors loses his daughter to involuntary servitude to pay off a tax debt.
Oh,
That is, yeah.
ugh.
And of course, Mary is forced into a betrothal by her parents to Joseph, who is being played by Oscar Isaac, a young home builder who has had his eye on Mary.
Oscar Isaac, I'd say that's a good choice.
I mean, I didn't know that was Oscar Isaac. Like he like this is like one of his. I think this is an early film role that he has.
It's one of his early film roles that he had right before Star Wars.
Actually, speaking of which, both Oscar Isaac and Keisha Castle Hughes will go on to appear in different Star Wars projects.
Oscar Isaac was in Star Wars: The Force Awakens,
And of course, Star Wars,
The Last Jedi.
The Last Jedi, Rise of Skywalker, and then Keisha Castle Hughes. She actually appeared in the Star Wars Bad Batch TV show.
Really?
Yep.
He will also appeared in the Robin Hood movie with Russell Crowe, and of course, he did lend his voice to Jesus Christ in The King of Kings.
And of course, he voiced Spider-Man 2099 in the Spider-Verse movies, by the way.
In the first two, and of course, there will be another Spider-Verse movie coming out in a few more years.
Right. Now, moving forward, so they were told that both Mary and Joseph must not consummate the marriage for a year. Mary's not happy with the arrangement because she barely knows Joseph. She certainly does not love him.
She doesn't?
No, she doesn't really know. She doesn't really know Joseph that much. She doesn't really know Joseph that much, to be quite honest.
Right.
I mean, the one thing that actually happened, if they actually the two did have a brief conversation when I think there's when Joseph was giving Mary that one donkey from the village, right?
Yeah.
And that was after when the soldiers, the king's soldiers came to visit that village for to collect the taxes.
Yeah.
That was that one scene. That was that one scene where the two had a brief conversation.
Mm. And of course, they brought in the donkey too.
Right.
And I believe it was like towards the third act.
I think it was, yeah, I'm pretty sure it was definitely towards the third act as well. So then on top of that, Gabriel, so the angel Gabriel, who's being played by Alexander Siddig, appears to Mary, telling her she's been chosen by God to bear the Son of God, which is Jesus, who has saved their people. And so Alexander Siddig plays Gabriel, the angel.
Gabriel.
Now, Gabriel, he's the archangel with the power to announce God's will to mankind as the messenger of God. Mentioned in the Hebrew Bible, the New Testament, and the Quran. And of course, in the New Testament, the Gospel of Luke, Gabriel appears to Zechariah, foretelling the birth of John the Baptist, who will later appear to the Virgin Mary to announce that she would conceive and bear a son through a virgin birth.
Virgin birth.
Right. Now this is basically yeah, that's the whole thing about that's the thing about that, yeah. Now, if you do pay attention, there is a nice little detail too about Gabriel. If you notice, like he's wearing a white robe, right?
Yeah.
You can definitely tell it's glowing, but you can definitely see through. You can definitely tell he's a spirit, right?
An angel spirit.
Yes, he's an actual spirit. He's an actual spirit. It's like, yeah, you do see his human form, but if you pay attention, you look through, there is a visual effect. There's a visual effect detail where you see like his spirit form. Like it's basically, you're seeing him, but it's kind of like, you see through him, right? You see a bit of a background, bit of a grassy background.
Yeah.
So that's when they're out when Mary was out in the grassy field. I think out in the field. I think there was definitely a few trees in the background too.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, I guess I don't know what it was. Is it a bird I know it was a bird, but I didn't know if that was a what bird was it?
Well, I'm pretty sure it's not a dove.
No, it's not a dove. I don't know if it was a dove or anything. Here it was like I don't remember what bird form it was, but it did symbolize like I want to say it as a message, right? It's like a
Yes.
message, right?
Mhm.
But the bird itself, um, to anyone who has seen that movie, of that bird during the scene with Gabriel and Mary, let me know in the comments on what bird that was. I mean, it looked like a hawk I mean, it's too small to be a falcon or anything, but it was a messenger bird. It was a little messenger bird, just so to say. But other than that, let's move forward. So yes, Gabriel and Mary had this conversation of Mary, bearing the Son of God. She was chosen.
Mm-hmm.
She was chosen to bear the Son of God.
Yes, she was.
Yep. So anyway, and Mary agrees to the angel's request and then travels to see Elizabeth, who, as I mentioned, Elizabeth is being played by Shoret Agdashlu, who's basically too old to have children and is already pregnant, which is proof God can do anything. And then Mary agrees to the angel's request, and of course, and as I mentioned, Mary agrees to the angel's request and then travels to see Elizabeth. And then of course Elizabeth is the wife of Zachariah, a priest who was told, as I mentioned, a priest who was told in the temple his aged wife would conceive and bear a son who was to be named John. Even Zachariah mentions about the age as well. Like, they're both at an older age. Keep in mind.
Older age.
But of course, as was mentioned, there's proof God could do anything, and God could do anything.
You also got the three wise men too.
Right, we even get introduced to the three wise men in this movie. One of them is Balthazar. And then of course, Melchior and Casper. Yeah, Casper, Melchior, and Balthazar, the three wise men.
They brought three gifts to the baby Jesus Christ, which is gold, frankincense, and myrrh.
Right, gold, frankincense, and myrrh. Well, good thing Cookie Monster didn't have to do that.
Nope.
Going off topic, I remember there is a Sesame Street segment where they did a recreation of the Nativity, and apparently Cookie Monster, Grover, and I forgot who the other Muppet was. So I forgot who the other Muppet was, who was one of the three Muppets. The two of them being Grover and Cookie Monster. They were playing the the three wise men.
Oh, wait, I found it.
Oh, what?
Henry Monster.
Henry Monster. There we go. Henry
Oh,
Monster.
Harry.
Oh, Harry Monster. Harry Monster, Cookie Monster, and Grover played the three wise men in a Sesame Street segment, and apparently Cookie Monster brought cookies instead of myrrh, right? And I'm pretty sure many of you probably have seen that segment too. I mean, it's a cute segment, but a bit funny at the same time because Cookie Monster I guess it was accidentally, but I guess it was an accident. But Cookie Monster brought cookies instead of bringing in the myrrh, right? Which is obviously the prop because they were doing a stage musical of that.
Also, Prairie Dawn freaked out about it. She says, "Wait a minute, cookies, cookies, Cookie Monster, you're supposed to bring myrrh."
Whoa, I guess I won't be needing these. Ah, nom 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 nom.
I mean, I'm very positive. And no, I'm pretty sure there has been a lot of stage musicals or stage productions of the Nativity. And I'm very positive about that. Plus, I mean, if you also going outside of like at your hometown churches, there's definitely around the holiday seasons, around Christmas time, you definitely see the nativity set up outside, right?
Yep. Okay.
All right, let's get back to the movie, shall we? So, okay, we get introduced to the three wise men as well. And then, of course, they're basically, they have this special portal where they're like, kind of like space, right? They're like basically looking through planets, right?
Yes, and they also travel too.
And of course, studying the prophecy, right?
Yes, the prophecy.
The prophecy, of basically, there's the prophecy, right?
And they started to travel so far,
right,
by following the star.
Yeah, the star to where where Jesus Christ will be born.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, of course, moving forward, Mary and Elizabeth they both meet, and Elizabeth seems to know all about Mary's impending pregnancy, saying her own child leapt in her womb.
The womb.
Yeah, in the womb. The Holy Rosary. You get the Mary's prayer, right?
Yes. Oh, yes.
Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with thee. Blessed art thou amongst women, and blesses the fruit of thy blesses the fruit of thy womb, right?
Yes, Jesus.
Right. That's in like the Holy Rosary prayer.
Yes, and then you get this: Holy Mary, Mother of God, pray for us sinners, now in the hour of our death. Amen.
Yeah, the part where she mentions, like Elizabeth mentions, like the fruit of thy womb blesses the fruit of thy womb, right? That's basically referenced in that movie.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, and then Mary she actually stays and sees Elizabeth's child born. And of course, Zachariah gets his voice back when he insists the boy be named John.
John?
Yeah, John the Baptist.
John the Baptist.
Yeah, John the Baptist. Yeah, Elizabeth's child's name was John the Baptist. And this is when Zachariah got his voice back, by the way.
Really?
Yeah, around that time, Zachariah didn't believe it at first. He didn't believe it. At first, he didn't believe it because they're basically of age. They're basically a lot older. But of course, the saying, the Lord works in mysterious ways, right?
Mm-hmm.
And of course, once the name was given, he got his voice back.
Wow.
And then of course, Mary, who is now pregnant, decides she had better return home. And when she comes back, noticeably pregnant, however, the whole town is scandalized.
Oh,
and
boy.
Joseph is heartbroken. And Mary's parents can't believe Mary. They fear she might have been, she thought it was one of the soldiers, one of the king's soldiers who did this to her.
Yeah.
No, it wasn't. But no, it wasn't.
Then who was it?
But it wasn't. I mean, no, it wasn't one of the it wasn't one of the soldiers, which is basically, they accused Mary of adultery, a sin punishable by death through stoning according to the Torah. Right, yeah. So anyway, at first Joseph does not believe Mary's religious explanation, but decides not to accuse her. But apparently, she still shocked and angry. but still shocked and angry. And at one point, he holds a stone in his hand, right?
Yeah.
That he was going to stone her, but apparently Gabriel stopped him.
Oh boy, that's not good.
That's not good. That would end real differently right there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that will not be a happy Christmas. That would not be a happy Christmas story, come to say. But thank goodness, that would not be a happy Christmas story right there.
Mm-hmm.
But that would not be a Merry Christmas story, if you know what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
But thank goodness Gabriel came. Gabriel talks to Joseph, right?
Yeah.
He sees the angel in a dream who tells him Mary's telling the truth, and so he takes her back, which now makes him an outcast in the town too. Because as I mentioned before, like Mary gets a visit from Gabriel, the angel. That's Gabriel that Joseph was talking to.
Mm-hmm.
It's basically like I said, Gabriel appears to Mary, telling her that she's been chosen by God to bear the Son of God who will save their people.
Yeah.
She was chosen. She wasn't, none of the nobody else and none of the soldiers did this to her. No, she was chosen to bear the Son of God. Right?
Right. And they were both they both sent off to their journey.
Right, and they both started off on their journey to, the little town of Bethlehem, right?
They also brought in the donkey too.
Right.
And I hope it's not Nestor, the longest ear Christmas donkey.
I don't think so. I mean, I don't know. But anyway, King Herod, being played by Kieran Hines, is worried about a prophecy of a new king who will be a messiah for his people. He thinks some usurper may make political use of the prophecy to start an uprising. He decides to take advantage of Caesar's desire for a census to make everyone return to his ancestral home. Since the Messiah is to come from David's lineage, Herod thinks he can trap the pretender in Bethlehem, the city of David. Joseph is a descendant of David, so Herod's order also forces Joseph to go to Bethlehem. Mary agrees to go with him. So they undertake an arduous journey, during which Mary comes to see Joseph as a good, self-sacrificing man. Affection and trust grows between the two of them.
Yeah, but
so this is when they're on their journey, they started to trust each other a lot more and get to know each other a little more too.
Yes, I mean they started their journey, and Mary and Joseph, a journey to Bethlehem.
Right.
By the way, there's also a movie called Journey to a Bethlehem movie that came out in the early 2020s.
Journey to Bethlehem. Isn't that one a musical or something?
Yes, it's a musical. They actually made a musical film called Journey to Bethlehem.
Yeah. But anyway, moving forward. So the three magi are also set on a journey as well as they're following, the Christmas star, right?
Yes, which is the three wise men.
Three wise men. They travel into the desert, to search to follow the star to the king of kings, right? So they load up some camels and take off across the desert. At a stopover in Jerusalem, they tell Herod the Messiah king will not be a grown man but a little baby. Herod pretends he wants to pay homage to the new king too, and asks them to return with directions once they have located him. After they leave, Herod hatches a terrible idea. He decides he can put an end to the people's hope in the prophecy by killing all the babies in Bethlehem.
Oh,
that is not good for
no,
not good for King Herod.
That's not good.
That did not end well for King Herod at the end of his life. That did not go well.
Nope. That happened. This happened in the opening too.
This was mentioned in the opening too. Like it kind of like teases it, right? Of what's gonna happen, right?
Yes.
I mean, even though that part wasn't the actual beginning of the movie, that has actually happened later on once the birth of Jesus Christ happened.
I'll be honest, Kieran Hines did a very good job playing King Herod.
Yeah. So anyway, moving forward, just as Mary and Joseph reach Bethlehem, Mary starts contractions. Joseph runs around looking for a place for her delivery. And then, of course, if you also pay attention to, you also hear Carol of the Bells playing in the background, too.
Yep.
This is when Joseph was trying to find, trying to find a place for Mary, right? Because she was about to give birth to Jesus.
Mm-hmm.
But apparently, no one will let the two in. Until then, a stable was offered.
A stable.
Yeah, a stable. I think that's that little barn, right? That little barn, that little stable barn out in one of the out in one of the inns, or or at least in someone's house, right? A nice man. It was a nice man who was able to offer them the stable.
And this is part of a Christmas decoration.
Right, the stable, the nativity. This is the nativity, the stable, the nativity that's become a staple of Christmas.
Yes, and of course, there is a YouTube video called "Oh Holy Night," which shows a clip from the Nativity Story, and the song "Oh Holy Night" was playing.
Right, and I'm pretty sure to everyone who has seen this movie, let's just say I'm pretty sure some people got a little teary eyed inside when Mary gives birth to Jesus, right?
Yes, and here's the lights.
And of course, once she gave birth to Jesus, the light, I think it's heaven's light that shines down. It shines down on both Mary and Joseph.
Giving birth to Jesus Christ.
Right. And just as she gives birth, the three celestial bodies line up and a shaft of light falls on the stable.
And of course, we mentioned that the actress who plays Mary was pregnant.
Yes. And I think there's a little trivia about that too. So apparently, there was a scandal during the making of this movie when it was revealed that she was pregnant with her boyfriend's child. This meant that while she was portraying history's most famous teenage mother, she herself was actually becoming a teenage mother.
Oh, really?
Yes, that's the actual story behind it. At least for the actress. It's interesting how it parallels like that.
Mm-hmm.
It's interesting how it parallels like that. And
of course, by the time the light fades, Jesus Christ was born.
exactly, yeah. So then,
and oh come, let us adore him.
Yep, oh come, let us adore him, yeah. So following the advice of the angel, some shepherds show up to see, including one who showed kindness to Mary and Joseph earlier. Mary tells him her baby is born for all mankind. The shepherds are followed by the Magi. The Magi present their gifts of gold for the King of Kings, frankincense for the priest of priests, and myrrh for the one who must sacrifice.
Mm-hmm.
And remember when the three wise men were told that they should report back to King Herod about this? Remember that?
I was thinking.
So Herod wanted the three wise men to report back, right? Herod wanted the three wise men to report back. But apparently the three wise men don't even do that.
Oh.
They don't even do that because apparently they kind of know what King Herod was up to.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
That's
so
not a good sign.
Pardon me. So I'm actually glad they didn't. The three wise men didn't go back. Hey, they were wise enough.
Yes.
They were wise. Those three wise men were wise enough.
Well, King Herod was not wise enough.
Yep. So after the three wise men leave, Mary and Joseph go to sleep, but then Herod's soldiers, they began their terrible infanticide. Just in the nick of time, the angel's voice warns Joseph. So as the soldiers start slaughtering the innocents, Joseph, Mary, and the baby Jesus are already out of town, heading for Egypt.
That happened in the opening.
Yes, and that's how the movie ends too. And of course, Mary, knowing her son will bring hope to mankind.
And three wise men left too.
Mm-hmm. And that's how the movie ends, by the way. And that's how the movie ends.
Wow.
Like that's how the movie ends.
And of course, by the time Mary, Joseph, and the baby Jesus left, there was a storm going on. There was like a storm going on.
Mm-hmm.
Well, according to the lightning. like thunder and lightning.
Yeah.
And then they set off on another journey to Egypt.
Yeah.
And it ends with the sun shining in the background.
Representing, and I'm pretty sure, and I'm very positive it represents hope, right?
Mm-hmm.
Representing a lot of hope that good will overcome evil, and of course, like a light at the end of the tunnel. The light of the Holy Spirit has shined upon.
Yep. And that is the end.
Yeah, so that's the end of the movie right there. And honestly enough, it's really it's a good movie too. It's a good movie too. I know a lot of people are not on board with this movie, and that's totally fine. But I enjoyed this movie.
Well, same here. At first, I wasn't on board with this movie until I got curious.
Right. I mean, we didn't see this movie when it first came out. We had no idea about it, to be quite honest.
I mean, it was.
I mean, we heard a little bit about. I mean, we when we were little, we heard a little bit about Jesus Christ, but we never really, come to know about it more. We never come to know about it until we got older.
Yes, and we also watched this movie prior to doing this episode.
Right. Yes.
Like the whole movie and bits and pieces of it.
Mm-hmm. But anyway, we have seen this movie. We've seen the whole movie, and then of course we also went back to watch some clips as well.
Mm-hmm. Including the end of the film.
Right.
I would say Oscar Isaac did a very good job playing Joseph.
Yeah, the two main leads, they did a pretty good job playing their characters. Like, yeah, I know. I mean, the story alone, like, it's a very important. The story itself is very important, especially since this is the origin of Christmas. Christmas originated as the Christian feast celebrating Jesus' birth, formerly set on December 25th. But of course, it's a lot more than just presents or Christmas trees, right?
Yes.
It's a lot more than people think it is. It's basically, celebrating the birth of Jesus Christ, our Lord and Savior.
It's more than just presents.
Right.
Musical score was very good.
I like the musical score and the use of some of the Christmas songs, the traditional Christmas songs, like "O Come Emmanuel," "Carol of the Bells," and I'm pretty sure there's a couple others too that I might have missed out.
And of course, Kieran Hines did a very good job playing King Herod.
Yeah, everybody who played their roles did a very good job, and I thought the direction from Catherine Hardwicke was good too.
And of course, even though it does feel like a high school production,
I didn't really find it that way, to be quite honest, though. But I thought the way I was set, it was fine. I mean, it's two. It was a two. I mean, it was a. I mean, the film was made at a different time, so the production can be a little,
it could be
different.
It could be challenging.
It can be challenging. It is challenging to create the story of what was told a long time ago. But I feel like they did put a lot of effort into this movie.
Yes. Also, one more thing to mention: the lighting and color grading in the Nativity Story.
I do have to agree. The lighting and color grading was a bit dark at times, but at the same time, it didn't bother me as much.
No. At the nighttime, like in the opening and the ending of the movie, makes sense.
Right.
But throughout the rest of the movie, when it gets lighter, it didn't work out. It may work out a little bit, but maybe a little more color would be better.
Yeah, I guess you could say a little more color would have been good, but I think what happened in the movie was okay. But I feel like what they were able to do was fine.
I mean, you gotta give props to everyone else who were involved in this movie.
Oh no, everyone did a pretty good job in this movie.
It's not an easy task to do.
No, it's not an easy task. And basically they're telling one of the biggest stories and the origins of Christmas, right?
At least it's lighthearted.
I mean, it's a lighthearted story. I mean, at the very end, it's hopeful. No, it's not just lightful. It's dark at times, but it's also hopeful. It does leave room for hope.
Yes. It's also a PG movie.
Yeah, it's PG. Yeah, it is a PG movie. Yeah. I like how throughout this movie there is a sense of hope for both Mary and Joseph.
Yep.
And especially the end of the movie too. Like the ending leaves you hopeful.
Yep. Especially when Jesus Christ was growing up.
Right. But other than that, I think that covers it for this episode. So anyway, There you have it, folks. That is our take on the Nativity Story film.
Yep, that's about it for
Yep.
this movie.
But anyway, to anybody who is listening, if we're missing on anything from this movie, or if there's a lot more if you want to share from this movie that we were talking about, let me know in the comments section below. But other than that, that's pretty much it. I enjoyed this movie for what this movie is. I enjoyed it. It's a very good movie. I mean, it's basically the origins of Christmas. I mean, it's obviously a very important story to talk about, especially in film.
Yes, I enjoyed it too, even though it could be hard to watch. It could be hard to watch any times, but it's still enjoyable.
I'm pretty sure there's going to be more films and maybe TV shows that'll talk about the Nativity. I mean, maybe I'm pretty sure Angel Studios may do one as well. I mean, who knows? We'll see down the line. Hollywood, in a nutshell, view Christian films based on Christianity a lot different. But but of course, Angel Studios is basically on the rise when it comes to making biblical movies. So I'm pretty sure Angel Studios will be able to,
Continue on to
will be able to continue on making biblical stories, but also faith-based movies.
especially after the success of King of Kings and The Sound of Freedom.
Right. With good intention and respecting what came, right?
Yes.
But other than that, that's about it for this episode. So, anyway, to anyone who is listening, what did you all think of the Nativity Story? Did you like this movie? Did you not like this movie? Did you think this movie was okay? I would love to hear your thoughts. And maybe one other thing to add, did you think this movie deserves a lot more attention? I would love to hear your thoughts.
I would say it deserves a lot of attention.
I believe it deserves more attention than what it was given,
Just like the King of Kings.
Right. And this is from our own experience talking about this movie. So I would love to hear your thoughts about this movie if you have seen this movie.
Yep. What would you rank it? The film?
I would give this movie an 8 out of 10. For what this movie presented, I appreciated what this movie had and I enjoyed it.
Yep. I enjoyed it too.
Yeah, I know it can be dark at times for some of the stuff that was presented in this movie, but at the end of the day, it's still a good movie. I mean, basically one of the a movie that talks about one of the most important stories out there.
Yep.
Other than that, that'll be a wrap for this episode. Thank you all for tuning into Codo Cinema. I'm your host, Mark Codo, aka Codoman.
And one more thing, Mark, thank you for having me back onto this episode of Codo Cinema, and I want to wish you a Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas to anyone who's listening. I hope everyone's having a good Christmas. So Merry Christmas to everyone.
And a Happy New Year. And this is Mike Codo.
I'm Mark Codo, aka Codoman. Remember to watch movies and stay positive.